All right. So the poem goes like this. Okay? Here's what the poem says. Okay, great. So the poem says, Cat, who has passed thy grand climacteric, right? How many mice and rats hast in thy days destroyed? How many tit-bits stolen? Gaze with those bright languid segments green, and prick those velvet ears, but pry thee, do not stick thy latent talents in me, and tell me all thy phrase, right, of fish and mice, and rats and tender chick. Nay, look not down, nor lick thy dainty wrists for all the wheezy asthma, and for all thy tail's tip is nicked off, and though the fists of many a maid have given thee many a maul, still is thy fur as when the lists in youth thou enterest rather on glass bottled wall. This is a very ode, it's a very nice ode to a cat. But let's understand the literal meaning behind this story. So the person is writing a poem to a cat, we can tell that. But what exactly is the information that is being told? Well, the first word that we saw we couldn't understand is climacteric, right? So climacteric means the most vital and healthy point. So let's use that context clue now to get what exactly the literal meaning was. Let's go back here. I'm going to add it now. So climacteric means the most vital and healthy point. So when we go back into our poem, where it says climacteric, let's go back there. Cat, who has passed thy grand climacteric. So now we understand that this cat is an elderly one, because the most vital and healthy point they have passed. So this cat is elderly. And from the picture as well, we can tell that information. The next word that we don't understand is phrase, right? Short for aphrase. What does aphrase actually mean? Let's write that down. Aphrase, the dictionary definition, right? Dictionary definition of aphrase essentially means an instance of group fighting in a public place that disturbs the peace. Okay, so let's look at the context clue again to understand where is aphrase mentioned and how is it used. So when it says no, that how many mice hasn't thy days, how many tits, great prick Langley latent. Okay, and tell me all thy phrase of fish and mice. We now know that that cat was excited. It's very early in its age. It was fighting a lot of cats and mice for food. So now we know some context clues as to who this cat was and who it is now. Okay, so now we're breaking it down. The first thing is to look at the words that are underlined in the poem. So you can make some jottings whenever you're given your paper and underlines the words that you don't understand. So that's the first point. Underline the most important, and you'll be getting these notes after class to follow along with me. Underline the most important, right, words in each passage that is given. For example, words that you may not know. Because these words could tell you what exactly you're missing to get the literal meaning of the passage. That's the first step, step one. There we go. Now, the words that we underlined in our passage was destroyed, DESTROY, apostrophe D, gaze, stolen, bright language segments, latent, phrase, dainty, wheezy, and mall. Why did we underline these words? Because they gave us three different things that we're looking for. They gave us an impact into who we're reading about or what we're reading about. They gave us some sensory appeal, right, to give us context clues as to what exactly we're trying to be involved in, what emotion is trying to be brought up. And the third was to convey that emotion. Let's go over it. It gave us impact, sensory appeal, and convey emotion. So we're going to say writers select these particular words for specific three main reasons. Right? Let's write that down. So step one was to underline the most important words. Step two essentially says that writers look for three main things to write about. We say that is sensory appeal, impact, and to convey emotion. So we say one, sensory appeal, impact, and to convey emotion. Right? So now that we know the three things that we're looking for in these words, that's why we underline them, right? Now we can get to write the definition of these words based on what we're looking for. So if the first word that we underline was destroyed, we could alternate that definition basically to say destroyed means hunt, killed, eaten, based on the context of a cat, right? Impact. What's the impact of the word destroyed? The impact is that the precise meaning of these words suggests total destruction, as if the prey has become unrecognizable. The sensory appeal, it leads us to imagine that the cat is extremely strong and aggressive. And the emotion that is conveyed using the sensory appeal and impact is that it creates a sense of awe and perhaps even dislike towards the cat based on its magnitude of destruction. So that's what we look at when we're breaking apart literal meanings in words, when we're looking at poems, passages, stories, or even drama, right? You want to break down the words that might seem important or unfamiliar to you. That's the passage that we're looking at now. Okay, so what you could do is to create a table, and I'm going to give you an example of the first word that we underline, and your task is going to be to complete the other two tables for homework. So let me give you the two tables. Here we go. Table one, the first table that first table. Here we go. Let's put it here. Let's copy that to clipboard and let's put it right here. All right, there we go. Okay, good. So when you look at this table, it has four rows rather. It has the word as the first row. The second row is the impact of that word. The third row is the sensory appeal, and the fourth row is the emotion conveyed. And you're going to create this table. So hashtag activity again. Hashtag activity, right? Create two more tables based on the example below on the other two words given. And those two words that were given, if you can recall, let's go back up here. For example, other two words that I'd like for you to use rather is gaze, latent, and wheezy. So we're going to say three words: latent, gaze, and wheezy. Latent, gaze, and wheezy. Right? Now remember, you're going to have the notes that I'm writing as a supplement if you had missed anything. So just check your group chat after class or during or before just to get the notes so you can follow along with me while we're going through this exercise. All right. So I'm going to pause the video here and you should follow on into part 3 now to see the next section of this work.